Good evening from the News Radio, 1120 and 93.7 FM KPNW studios. I'm Bill London. I co-host the Wake Up Call, 6 a.m. to 9, Monday through Fridays on KPNW, streaming live worldwide at kpnw.com. And tonight's Crazy Oregon News brought to you by none other than Sean Sutherland, because, well, he knows you have questions. He's an insurance guy, and he has answers. So when you have questions about your insurance, ask insurance. That's Sean Sutherland. He'll help you out. All right. So a lot of tonight's Crazy Oregon News is going to have to do with, of course, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. As part of a weekend of mourning across Oregon, local vigils took place all over the state, drawing thousands of people. Places like Medford, Bend, Portland, and of course, here in Eugene. Charlie Kirk, of course, as we all well know, was assassinated while debating college students at Utah Valley University last week. Kirk was a co-founder of Turning Point USA, an organization that does outreach to Earth and supports conservative youth. It gets them involved in politics. And a vigil was held in Eugene at Alton Baker Park Saturday. It had moments of prayer, remembrance, and then the group marched to Hayward Field. Kirk was an avid Duck fan. And you heard that, of course, when his wife, Erica, spoke last week. She made a point of even saying, "Go Ducks." So it made sense that there would be something here in Eugene to remember Charlie Kirk. An estimated anywhere between 600 and 1,000 people showed up. There was the memorial, which is at the park, and then the march, of course, to Hayward Field. The local Turning Point chapters expressed that they saw this not only as a chance to mourn, but as a turning point in the national conversation about political violence, tolerance, and open debate. Now, obviously, we need a lot of discussions about tolerance. Here's a few examples. A Cornelius city council, and Cornelius is a city that's just outside of Portland. A Cornelius city councilor and school teacher whose online post celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk drew instantaneous outrage from folks living in the town of Cornelius. And over the weekend, he resigned. The former city councilor and school teacher, John Colgan, wrote on social media on Wednesday, the day that Kirk was assassinated. He posted, "That brightened up my day." And then in an update, apparently to basically throw some shade on the backlash, he posted, "Charlie was a effing ghoul who got on TV after every school shooting and mass shooting and defended guns. He'd want us to support the gun in this case." And while he's no longer on the city council, Colgan, a school teacher, is now on paid leave from his teaching job over his comments. And it struck closer to home, at least to Eugene. There's a little school district that's nearby. It's called Pleasant Hill. The mascot is a goat. They're called the Billies. And a Pleasant Hill school district counselor, yes, a counselor, was put on paid administrative leave due to comments that she made on social media regarding the death of Kirk. Now, according to the Pleasant Hill School District Superintendent Jim Christ, he said the social media post caused significant disruption in the schools. The employee posted on social media, writing, and she said, "This is what Kirk said, quote, I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks about this. They live in a complete alternate universe," unquote. She then followed the misquote with her own words, saying, "Well, he got what he preached," followed by a shrugging emoji. Well, that post was shared and spread like wildfire all around the area, and people were furious, specifically parents. In a community email, then later, Friday afternoon, Superintendent Christ sent out another email to the public. And here's what he wrote. We are in close contact with law enforcement. And law enforcement have confirmed at this point there are no known credible threats. Out of an abundance of caution, we've coordinated with the Lane County Sheriff's Office on increased patrols in and around Pleasant Hill school campuses to provide additional reassurance for students, staff, and visitors. We recognize this situation has caused concern, frustration, and strong emotions within the Pleasant Hill community. He says our focus remains on supporting Pleasant Hill students, keeping Pleasant Hill students safe, and working together to maintain a respectful and caring school environment. We are deeply grateful for the support our community has shown our students, staff, and visitors during this time. Now, we had Superintendent Jim Christ on our show this morning, Monday morning. This is the day I'm recording this. What I didn't know about Superintendent Jim Christ is that in his first teaching job, and of course, Rick, you'll remember this, he was at Thurston High School the day that Kip Kinkle walked in and opened fire. And Superintendent Christ, during our discussion this morning, was very emotional. Yes, there were a lot of emails, text messages, social media messages, and the like that were, if not outright threatening, at least were intimidating and intimating the potentiality for violence on a little school in the country. Then this morning, we discovered that a drama teacher from Thurston High School in Springfield made a meta post, that's Facebook, linking to a story on KGW TV in Portland. Now, that particular link that he went to and posted on Facebook announced that Charlie Kirk had died. The teacher commented with one word on that story. The word was good. No word on how the Springfield School District plans to deal with this loving teacher's post. Then you had 3 Democratic Oregon senators who received bomb threats Thursday morning. The emailed threats, it turned out, were false. The senators were okay. State police officials say that they sent out explosive technicians that found no bombs at the senators' homes. The email from State Police Lieutenant Casey Hagney said that they were working with the FBI and local law enforcement to figure out who sent the threats. Now, they're believed to be connected somehow to the assassination of Charlie Kirk in one form or another. Senate Republican leader Daniel Bonham of the Dalles and Democratic Senator James Manning of Eugene both confirmed that threats were sent to Manning. Senate President Rob Wagner of Lake Oswego and Senate Majority Leader Casey Jama of Portland also received the bomb threats that followed the murder of Kirk. Manning said he first heard about the threats from the Eugene Police Department. Jama and Wagner thanked law enforcement officials for responding quickly to the threats. Jama said, "I thank law enforcement for their swift and professional work responding to the threat I received today." And she further said, "We can oppose each other's ideas without resorting to violence and intimidation." In other news, while most jobs here in Oregon and job sectors are stalling and shedding workers in the state, there is one job sector in particular that somewhat unsurprisingly continues to grow. Now, the manufacturing industry, which generally features high-paying jobs, took the biggest beating, shedding 5% of its workers in the last year in Oregon. It was closely followed by construction and financial services. And in the last year, retail business employment has taken a beating as well, down almost 2%. Agriculture, which is one of the biggest job providers in the state, was also down 1,000 jobs in the last year, too. The grim details are in the numbers released from the Oregon Employment Department in their recently released data of Oregon job activity over the last year, ending in July. However, as much as the state's political leaders like to claim that Oregon government is leaving jobs unfilled and is working within their budget, state government hiring, had the most job growth of any sector in the state last year, growing 4%. That was followed by education and health services, which were up 2%. Hospitality was up about 1.5%. Those three job sectors were the only job sectors in Oregon that had any growth. Well, the Oregon legislative special session to give billions of dollars in extra taxes and fees to ODOT was, as we've told you, halted by lawmakers after they agreed to a 2-week hiatus to allow Oregon Democratic Senator Chris Gorsuch to recover from health issues because the Democrats need his vote to pass this huge tax and fee increase on Oregon citizens to fund the Oregon Department of Transportation. And while legislators have been doing nothing in the interim to this legislative session that started over the Labor Day weekend, it doesn't mean that they're not getting paid. As a matter of fact, members of the House and Senate are receiving a per diem rate of $178 a day while in session. The money paid to lawmakers is drawn from the state's general fund. As a matter of fact, one of the things that they're doing is every couple of days, they meet, a couple of House representatives meet in the House, declare they don't have a quorum, and then say, oh, okay, we'll go home. It's about a 5-minute process. That ensures they keep getting their per diems under Oregon law. That one 4-minute House meeting cost Oregon taxpayers $10,680. And the cost for the special session is likely to exceed $180,000. And that's just to deal with the per diem, so that legislators get paid while they don't do anything. Now, we told you about Republican Representative Cyrus Javati here in Oregon, who decided after voting in favor of this huge tax increase on Oregonians in the House before it was passed on to the Senate, and now the Senate waits, we told you that he decided, I'm not going to be a Republican anymore. I think I'm going to run as a Democrat. It was because of his vote that passed the House, because one Democrat, Representative Anessa Hartman, a Gladstone Democrat, she was the only member of the caucus to vote against that tax-raising transportation package. She was the only one. Had it not been for Javati, it would not have made it out of the House. It's that slim of a supermajority. And the Democrats hold that supermajority. Well, she announced that she's not going to seek re-election. Instead, Hartman said that she's going to run for a seat on the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners next year. She says she wants to go back to local politics. She also served on the Gladstone City Council before she won election to the House in 2022. Now, she gave 2 reasons. One was she wanted to spend more time with her 2 daughters, and she wanted to leave behind the Democrats in the legislature. Hartman said her journey into the legislature had been rewarding, but come with immense heartbreak. She said, as a Democrat, she witnessed firsthand, quote, how often party power overshadows people, how votes are dictated by allegiance rather than conscience, and how voices are silenced for daring to dissent. And Hartman, like I said, generated controversy in Salem by being the only House Democrat to vote against the transportation package that would raise taxes and fees to bolster funding for road maintenance and public transit. She voted against it. Why? Because she said her constituents didn't trust the Oregon Department of Transportation to manage additional revenues and said raising taxes on working class families was unjustifiable. So it's a representative government. And she, as a representative, regardless of the letter behind her name, did what a good representative does. She represented her district, and she was excoriated for it by her team in Salem. Like I said, Democrats nearly passed the package despite her opposition because Chavati crossed the aisle as a Republican and voted for it, and then said, I'm going to be a Democrat. Welcome to Oregon politics. That is your somewhat disturbing, sad, and crazy Oregon news. And for you, Rick, roll out the reel.